Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on CCTV. Now, don't forget that this Saturday is City FM and CCTV's This is Ghana exhibition, where you can buy all of your made in Ghana goods at one place at Alisa Hotel. It's happening from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Bring your entire family. And if you have any questions at all about the exhibition, you can contact 0205-973-973. We're going to have vendors from all sorts of categories, from agribusiness to technology to manufacturing to arts and craft. And we're inviting the entire family to come join us as we shop their best of Ghana. Now we're talking about the consumer technology segment with Philip Kofi Ashong, who's the host of City Trends and head of production here at CCTV. And today is Data Detox Day 7. And we're talking about the Huawei Y9 Prime 2019. If you good morning, Philip.
Well, good morning, Jifa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited about today's episode because it features one of the devices I've been featuring and I've been reviewing for quite a while, and also something that I feel very good about. So for the last 6 weeks or so, we've been doing that. We've gone through the detox process, but a lot of us have been asking. So, what do these companies, these technology companies, actually know about us, and why are they really collecting the information that they are collecting? I mean, if someone is collecting information about you, it shouldn't be such a big deal, if especially they are not necessarily compromising your security or something like that. And so in order to give us a good sense of what has been collected about us, if it's possible for our viewers, and today we're going to do a quick exercise again, I need you guys to go on to adssettings.google.com. adssettings.google.com. Just go there right now, sign into your account, and this basically gives you a good sense of what sort of adverts Google is serving to you. Now, the reason why this is very important is because it gives you a sense of what Google knows about you as well. Now, it's interesting. The sort of ads that you find here gives you a sense of what Google knows about you, which is everything from your GPS location to your habits to the places where you go and things like that. Now, the information here is supposed to give you a sense of what ads are served to you, which gives you an indication, once again, like I said, of what Google knows about you. So adssettings.google.com. Just go to that website right now and check it out. Now, Jifa, the reason why I want us to start from here is because we've talked about all this detoxing business, about apps being deleted and things like that. But it's important for us to also know exactly what these platforms know about us and for which reason specific adverts are being served to us. Yeah. Now, people also say, I mean, is it just adverts? Because if it's adverts and it's specified, like to me, then it's kind of okay. It's not like I'm just getting all this junk business. But then it doesn't end there, because apparently it's not just ads. Now, think about it. If specific ads are being sent to you, what about the ads that are not sent to you? What if there is something that is happening globally, and because of a certain algorithm that is profiling you, you're excluded from it? So for example, there are some jobs that you might be interested in, but then because Google has profiled you based on your information over a period of time, it excludes you from that sort of data. Wow. Then what happens? You don't have any way of legislating that. And that puts you in a very, very negative or a compromised situation. You are basically being excluded from a lot of things. Yeah. And for me, that's kind of worrying. The second thing is, one of the things that was found out through research by a number of industries was that Google and some of these companies have been sort of found to be playing in the health industry. So it's great that, especially Google DeepMind as a company or as a subsidiary of Google. Now, it's great that they're collecting all this information. They are collecting information to do research for health and things like that. It's great. But then what else are they doing with it? What if the data is compromised? Then what happens? Yeah. I don't know if anybody has thought about that. I don't know if anybody's worried about that. But then for me, as someone who watches the technology space, it worries me. Because if your data is compromised for any reason, imagine if it goes into the hands of someone who can compromise your security. And all of this is worrying. So it's not just the fact that you are being served ads. It's not just the fact that the ads look like, you might be interested in it. But what about the things that you are being excluded out of? Because maybe the information that you have provided is what Google is basically using to profile you. What if there's much more at stake? Then what? You know, so it's for me, it might not seem like a big deal to a number of people, but I think that it's a big deal because when you're profiled like that, the things that the algorithm uses to profile you says a lot about what sort of things you are served with. So if you are served with ads, or when you go to ads settings.google.com and you realize that some of the ads that are being served you have to do with only medicine or only whatever, just imagine all the other things that are not being served you. That is one potential. Now, what if someone gets access to all this information that is being profiled about you, or that the profiling process has taken about you? What happens? What happens when someone can get all of this information, can pinpoint your every location, can figure out what you are doing at what time? Security compromise. So many things can go wrong all at the same time. And
so exactly what do we do to prevent all of these things that you've mentioned?
well, I mean, as we've talked about in these past 6 weeks, go through, I mean, it's almost impossible to tell you to go through Facebook, Twitter, and go through all the privacy settings and read all the, all the terms and conditions. It's a lot of work, but at least try to understand what is being collected about you. We've done a lot over the past 6 weeks. We've showed you where to go to change your privacy settings. We've shown you which apps, for example, to delete, such that it curtails the amount of information that is being collected about you. It's important that you take some of these steps to limit the amount of information that is being circulated about you, because there are companies in this world who, unlike Google, who probably will be a little more lenient or will be a little more measured in how they use your data. Some people, some mercenaries on the internet will not necessarily be that kind.
Yeah.
And you can't basically say company A or company B will be kind to me. So it's best you limit the amount of information that you put out there about yourself.
Perfect. Now, can we talk about the Huawei Y9?
Of course. So before we even get to it, so we put together a very short unboxing video. So we're going to get to that video now. And then when we come back, we're going to get into the details of the Huawei Y9 Prime 2019.
Excellent. So that's the Huawei Y9 Prime 2019. Phil, can you tell us more about it?
Yes, indeed. So this is the phone. This is the device. This is the device that we just saw. As we indicated, the back features the fingerprint sensor there, as you can see right there, and the three cameras as well, as you can see there. So the front side of the device, which is pretty interesting, is there is no notch as you would expect from most of the devices today. You can't see any camera, so you're probably wondering how do you do the selfie. So one of the really interesting things is so we're going to put on the front-facing camera. So we put on the camera and just watch the top of the device now. So when you do this, that basically is the camera right there at the top, which is one of the pretty interesting features. It's a 60 megapixel camera that pops up at the top. And then you press it and it goes back down.
Wow.
You press it again and it pops up. You press it and it goes back down. So that's how
so cool.
you take your, so you basically have a bezel-less quote-unquote screen. All of the screen space is being used up. Now, one of the things that I found really interesting was about the camera, about the front-facing camera. So someone was asking, okay, so what happens if the camera should fall?
Yeah.
So I wanted us to do that.
The phone falls.
If the phone falls and you have the phone, like you're taking a selfie, like you're taking a selfie right now, and the phone falls, what exactly happens? So I wanted us to do a quick trial.
Yes, go for it.
You up for it?
Go
Okay,
for it.
so let's say we have the device and like we're taking a selfie and the phone should fall. So I'm basically going to drop the device.
Okay.
I'm basically going to drop the device from here. So we're going to have one of the cameras point to to my feet. So when the phone drops, you actually see what happens, because we need to see if the phone, what happens to the camera. Scary as it is. So should we go?
Go for it.
Okay, so you do the countdown. You do the countdown.
The phone.
On 3,
3, 2, 1. Drop. Woo!
So what happens basically is,
it didn't break.
well, we'll see in a second. So when what happens is that the camera automatically detects when it is falling.
Wow.
And it retracts inside
By itself before it hits the
exactly.
ground.
And as you can see, the camera is still working.
Wow.
Okay, so that is the
That
selfie,
is amazing.
and then it pops back in.
But should you try this on concrete ground? Should
Well,
you try this at home? Because when you're watching stuff on TV, I don't try this at home.
Well, if you're going to buy this device, I wouldn't
keep
necessarily say just keep dropping it.
Philip said I should drop it.
It's just to show you what the phone is capable of doing. Of course, there is a certain period of time within which
Don't be dropping like 20 times.
The camera can retract into the body of the phone and everything else. But the reality is that at least they've made it possible for the phone to retract if there should be an accident. And we know that dropping a phone usually is by accident.
Yeah.
You don't wake up in the morning and flip your phone and unless someone wants to destroy your phone. So that for me was one of the big things that I found pretty interesting about it. The other thing has to do with, and for those who love your selfies, what we found in the Huawei P30 Pro, some of it has been brought back into this phone, even though the price is a little lower. Now, what we find with this one is that you have artificial intelligence, basically, artificial intelligence built into the camera. So if, for example, you're taking a picture outside and there's a person you're taking a picture of, there is a certain sense of where you are, and it reads the environment to give you the best possible pictures. Now there's a 60 megapixel camera with it. There's an 8 megapixel camera as well. So there are 3 cameras in the back, as I said. One, also, you remember the ultra wide feature from the P30 Pro? Well, that has also been featured here as well. And so, for example, you're taking a picture and you want to take the ultra wide, it's just a button away and you basically get the ultra wide thing. So this is the ultra wide and this is the normal. So as you can see, those differences there, and you're pretty good to go. It's basically that simple. Everything else that you can find in the P30 Pro, or at least a lot of the things you can find in the P30 Pro, which made it so incredible, you can find here. The feature about taking pictures in the evening as well is like really featured here as well. Some of the pictures that I took at night at 11 p.m. Incredible. Now, basically what it does is it takes the picture in various exposures and combines all of it into one picture. So you basically have something that looks very, very good. So imagine what it can do in the night as compared to what it can do in the day. If in the night it can give you that quality picture, just imagine what it can do for you during the day. I mean, my main thing that I didn't really like about this device was the font when you switch on the camera. So when you switch on the camera and you look at the very bottom, and I hope we can get that in there. One of the things I didn't like was the font. The font style is just like really, really weird. As you compare it to the font for the other parts of the phone, the fonts right here, I found them really, really weird. But I mean, apart from that, there's very little not to like. There is a 4,000 milliampere battery that comes with it. In my testing, it took me 2 hours approximately to charge it fully, and it basically lasted me more than 2 days.
Wow. Now there's a viewer that wants to know if when the phone was about to fall down, it went inside because our floor is padded, or if we had been on concrete floor, we would have had the same result as
It's the same result. Once the phone detects that it is falling, it will retract the camera if the camera is out. That is what it is. Whether it's a concrete floor or it's a padded floor, whichever one it is, it will retract. The only thing is, I just don't advise that you do it that often, because if it's, I mean, as you would see, I dropped it from a pretty high point, but it's not everybody who can get that high point. It's not like, you know, so anything can happen. So I'm just saying that it's not something I advise you to do regularly, but you can show it off to a couple of friends. just make sure that you know where you are and what you're doing. And you know, one of the things that I found really interesting was the price point. It's 1,299 CDs.
Wow,
that's like 1,300 CDs for everything that it offers.
Wow.
One of my biggest points is the 4,000 milliampere battery. That one was very, very
really
huge for me. And like I said, it took me about 3 days to work out the entire battery, even though I wasn't really using, I was just basically using Twitter and taking a couple of pictures and just receiving a couple of calls. But I'm guessing for the very heavy user, this will definitely get you through the day and a little more, probably about a day and a half. But I mean, that is more than enough for most people. So yeah, that's the Huawei Y9 Prime. Pretty interesting device.
Thank you so much, Philip Ashon, for being with us. Of course, Philip is host of City Trends on 97.3 City FM and head of production here at City TV. Don't go anywhere. Breakfast Daily will be right back.